The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is a robot with countless irrelevant menu options. Which is why with USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable, all at the touch of a button. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
Switch to Verizon Business and get more from your internet without paying more for your internet. Get LTE Business Internet starting at $39 a month when paired with select business mobile plans. That's unlimited data, and with it, unlimited possibilities. Start saving today with Verizon Business, ranked #1 in small business internet customer satisfaction by J.D. Power. Starting price for 25 megabits per second LTE internet plan with smartphone plan savings, plus taxes, fees, and economic adjustment charge. Terms apply. For J.D. Power 2024 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
So good, so good, so good.
Great gifts for mom? We've got them. And they're up to 60% off at Nordstrom Rack stores now.
You know they have Marc Jacobs?
Gotta show mom some love.
That is so good.
Snag amazing deals on Mother's Day gifts from Barefoot Dreams, Kate Spade New York, and more. Great brands, great prices. That's why you rack.
Welcome to another Finely Edged production for the Premier League Cricket Club. Connecting players and coaches, clubs and leagues, volunteers and supporters alike, you're in the right place for the best of the 33 ECB Premier Leagues and the 20 NCCA counties, bringing you the stories, the stats and the standout performances that make this game great. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to both our Premier League and NCCA shows so you don't miss any episodes. Now, shall we get stuck in? So welcome everybody to another one of our Premier League reviews, and joining us today, I've got to be very careful how I introduce him here now, Hugh, because we're going to get in a lot of trouble. I'm going to introduce a player who, with over 600 plus wickets on play cricket, he sort of did the job on Saturday by keeping Blackpool down in the runs with 4 overs, 1 for 2, but he let us down because he didn't get the wicket of Mr. Matt Taff. And I know you'll be listening to this, Mr. Matt Taff. And all I can say is, well done, buddy. I'm sure we'll talk about this ton. But just remember one thing. It was only a friendly, Mr. Guy Emmett, wasn't it?
Yeah, we're just helping him out. After moving from Lytham to Blackpool, which is obviously controversial, we wanted to boost his confidence, let him feel at home. And that's why I never bowled at him in the end, except for a few balls at the beginning, which he just blocked out, to be honest, at that stage, and played a few shots when the game was over. No, he batted very well. Well done to him.
Dropped 10 times. Was he dropped 10 times, 12 times? Was it?
He was dropped twice. He was dropped twice at long off. One didn't quite get there, and one, yeah. But he did bat very well.
Yeah, there is rumours of a very, very strange sort of boundary setup, though, as well.
Short boundary, which he took advantage of. He definitely did aim towards that side. I just feel he could have gone at it sooner. Maybe they would have clinched a friendly victory. But
so
what a club, by the way.
He lost the match for them, basically, what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, we'll go with that for you. He lost the game. Actually, what a brilliant club. And great setup, by the way. I've never played at Blackpool, but I've never seen a wicket like that in April.
Wow. Yeah.
Why do you think Mr. Taff's gone to Blackpool? That's all we'll say. We'll leave it at that. Hey, as everyone can tell, join us. We've got Guy Emmett from Row Green. We're going to talk Greater Manchester Premier League, which is a fascinating league for a number of reasons for us, Hugh, including giving you bloody nightmares, mate, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I think the shift to play cricket happened 10 years, 15 years after everybody else shifted to play cricket, so it's very hard to dig out the stats. So, yeah, basically in the dark here. We've got the last 2 seasons worth of data. So, yeah, over to you, Guy, basically.
Absolutely. So let's have a look back very quickly at last year then, Guy. You guys were runners-up. Correct me if I'm wrong, having won the year before. It's disappointment in the end?
Very much so. We won the league the year before and the cup, and we managed to clinch a cup this year, lost in a 2020 final. But we lost out to Edgeworth in a crucial game. We needed to chase 149 to win the league. And we didn't. And Edgeworth, who are I think the two of us will be up there again. So they had a brilliant professional in Tom Rogers, actually, also a good guy. He took a lot of wickets, scored a lot of runs. So, but impressive campaign. But also sides like Prestwich have come back up. Actually, I suspect will be up there again. So all
Yeah,
to play for.
I think I'm going to point this out to listeners straight away. One of the things I've picked up from the GMCL, and unless someone tells me otherwise, I think you're the only league in the country with 12 teams with 3 up, 3 down. I
Yeah.
mean, that makes it bloody competitive, doesn't it?
Oh, the first year I joined, it was 4 up and 4 down.
Jeez.
So on the last day of the season, if we won, we could finish second, but it was still mathematically possible for us to get relegated. So it was rained off, and we finished third or fourth, I think, and everyone was a little bit relieved. But yeah, it works very well actually. It makes every game competitive. So at the end of the season, whereas on Saturday we had a very friendly feel to it, as it should do at Blackpool in the pre-season game. But at the end of the season, there's always something to play for. And actually, some big sides have got relegated over the years where they've bad few weeks, a few games off with weather, and probably Prestwich are the biggest example because they're a fabulous side
Yeah.
and a good club, and they've come straight back up though.
And Heaton, who'd come up from the previous division, they'd come second, I think, the previous year, and have gone straight back down. Yeah, it is. It just shows that it's in and out for everyone, isn't it?
It is because the league below is competitive because the way the league was formed from so many traditional like Lancashire County League, some sides joining from Central Lancs. There's some big clubs in the league below, so you can get lured in, and in some cases get relegated again. So
Yeah.
hopefully nothing happens like that for Road Green. We've been in it since the start, and I think we've always been in the top four. I might be wrong there though, but in my head we have.
Well, I've got to ask a sort of open-ended question here. With your experience around the leagues over the years, and the Cheshire League, and you've played up in Yorkshire, etc., do you think the point system leads itself to that competitiveness in particular? Because you do have the lowest number of points in any league in the country when it comes to how many points for a win and how it gets worked out. Again, brings it all a lot closer than somebody having 20 points for a win and that type of thing, doesn't it?
I think it's the best system I've played in. I played in the Cheshire League for a number of years. Great league. They're doing various things this year, time cricket, win lose. It seems complicated to me, but what a league! And then the Yorkshire League was impressive. To me, it's just simple. It's win lose cricket, leg side wides, 4 people in the ring, and at the end of it, you hope you get your 5 points for a win. And it's just simple. It's not overcomplicated, and it is the most competitive league I've played in terms of. Spice is the wrong word, but but the clubs are also they like and respect each other. They are the hubs for their communities,
Yes.
and we're quite close to each other as well. Hence the reason I've rejoined the league and been travelling back so far. Wherever we go, I'm looking forward to the places that the people that run these clubs very successfully as well. There's always a number of people watching the games. But the one thing I would say, I like the simplicity of it, win or lose, and the point system, because I can't believe how complicated some leagues have got.
Yeah, it just helps putting your side together, doesn't it? If you know exactly you've got one format, you've got one set of rules, one structure, you can plan accordingly. You're not having to go, well, I need this player for this part of the season and this player for this part of the season.
Yeah, plus as a bowler, I don't really need to be bowling with a pink ball that doesn't swing on a Saturday.
Yeah,
We'll keep
absolutely.
it simple with the same
Or
ball and the same
bowling
kit.
20 overs from one end at your very sprightly age.
Yeah, 4 overs was enough pre-season. I felt it on Monday.
From Saturday to Monday, you're still feeling it. That says a hell of a lot.
I think so. Yeah, I've got physio tomorrow just to make sure I'm okay for Saturday. But yeah,
Oh,
that's the nature of pre-season. There's a few sore bodies on Sunday. It was more the fact the weather load is in Blackpool. That, by the end of the day, it was freezing.
Yeah.
yeah, it looked like one of those days that I had a day at the end of last season where I watched Richmond Shire and New Farnley. Started off with beautiful blue sky. We were all in t-shirts. By the end of the day, how many layers were you wearing?
Oh, we had three layers, but that was not enough. It was not enough.
Exactly.
Hence the drop catches at the end of the game. I don't think people fancied the odd catch then.
That's about right. That's about. Hey, let's look ahead to this season going ahead at Row Green. Any changes there in particular going on?
We've got Adam Holt has come in. He'd been playing at Flixton and actually played at St Anne's previously and been a professional for Hayside. So he's just moved to the area, joined the club. Great addition. Got a good score on Saturday in pre-season as well. But that's it. It's pretty much stability. Elliot Millard's joined the squad as well. But there's very rarely any changes at the club. There's so many of us have been around for a long time, or in the case of like myself and Dan Jones, who have gone and come back as well. We have lost Dan Cooper, so Dan Cooper wasn't playing as much, but he's gone over to Elworth because he lives over Cheshire Way.
Right.
Who was he replaced me as professional a few years ago and will be a great loss. But he didn't play that much last year, in fairness. But no stability. I welcome to Adam and pretty much stability for the year.
Absolutely. What about around the rest of the league? Have you seen anything where you've gone, hang on a minute, that looks interesting?
Yeah, Woodbank have got Harry Dearden's coming back from the Cheshire League, and he's brought in one or two lads like the Selby brothers from Bowden, my old club, Bowden Cricket Club. And then Prestwich have kept their professional as they've come up. Sure, have got a few changes. We've got them on Saturday. My old friend Darren Cruikshank has left them, where he's professional and done a great job. Used to play against him as a youngster when he was at Chester, but not too many changes. I'm glad Keane Dickinson, who went to Scarborough College, obviously where I work at, he's a professional there, and I think he'll have a big year. And probably the biggest one is another Scarborough College boy. Actually, George Taylor's gone to Edgeworth from Egerton. And Egerton no doubt would have replaced him, and Jason Whitaker will be flying the old Seamers Brigade high with myself. But he'll be at Egerton. But not as many changes as normal, actually.
No, definitely. And I think what some of the interesting ones I've picked up on, George Harris leaving Northern. You know, he was a national champion last year, leaving Northern to come across to Egerton. Not fitted into the squad at Northern this season, so he's made the move across. Jack Stanley, coming from Southport and Birkdale, who were relegated in the Liverpool comp, and he's gone to Clifton. But I think you're right. Bradshaw, I think, had a disappointing year last year by their standards. So to keep Kean and bring one or two other players in, that makes a big difference to them.
I think it's a great club as well to play at. And it's immaculate, and obviously Keane's dad Steve's heavily involved there, and they're just good people. I think that, hopefully they'll have a good year. And Keane certainly had a great second half to the year, and he's done well in Australia. It's good to have George Harris back. Hopefully he's quieter than his dad on the pitch. If Bomber's hearing me, he's a good man. But no, Egerton will be always a difficult place to go to. And that's one of the things about the league, actually. I mean, last year we lost at Woodbank, who were struggling, and anyone can beat anyone. That's a win-lose cricket, the nature. Each side has a good professional as well, and we cost us a few games where we lost at West Horton, obviously got relegated as well. So that's the exciting thing about the league. But some good new signings and good additions to the league. And I think they're attracted by the win-lose nature of the cricket and the fact that there is 3 relegations and the excitement around the league and great grounds and great people. And one of those, as you mentioned, is Bradshaw.
What's the typical makeup of a GMCL side? Looking at the stats last year, Brandon Diplock was the leading wicket taker, who's I haven't got any video. Is a seamer, I think, right on seamer, which is very unusual for a leading wicket taker to be a seamer in most of the countries. So is it a more seam friendly environment than GMCL as opposed to spinners, or is it just he had an outstanding year? And
he had a good year. He came from Zimbabwe and bowled a lot of overs for them. I think they won't mind me saying that they were reliant on him as the senior seamer. And it depends upon the makeup of the side. For us, for example, we've got a number of bowlers, so wickets tend to be shared, with Toby Lester, Luke Williams leading it as seamer tap, but then you've got Andy Hoff, who's been professional for the club for a number of years. He used to get 100 wickets in some years, and now actually those wickets are just shared out. So it really does depend on the side. When you play Flixton and Gareth Cross is running as a seamer, actually, and people like Liam Hurt, of course, their strength is their seam, but often it's league cricket. Spin is king, isn't it? Often, if you've got good quality spinners. and it depends what professional that they've got in. For us, we've got a well-balanced attack. But I look at how Edgeworth actually in the key game against us last year, a couple of spinners certainly put us under pressure. But I think the key is actually for the teams at the top of the league, they've had 3 quality seamers and 2 good spinners within it. Whereas lower down, perhaps they've been reliant on a couple of bowlers. Like in most leagues across the country, I suspect. But I think the nature of the weather probably in Manchester lends itself that it can be quite a bit more seamer friendly. In Cheshire, it was very, sides would bowl spinners for a long time, and it's one of the reasons why this old person's decided to play in the league. Probably the wickets are a bit more seamer friendly, but a good spinner always gets wickets wherever they are.
Absolutely. I think what you talk about that mixture again. I'm looking at the points table from last year. West Orton went down on 44 points. Fourth place, Flixton was 61. It's basically 3 games difference, and everyone was beating everyone. Unfortunately, Heaton got left behind, and Woodbank got well and truly left behind. But it just shows that literally 1 or 2 games could have been the difference for quite a lot of clubs there, couldn't it?
Certainly could. And West Orton and Woodbank beat us in the last few games of the year. I mean, if we defeat Edgeworth, we become champions and brilliant. And as I say, they were deserving champions. But the fact that the 2 bottom sides, we got relegated by some distance in the end. Woodbank beat us at home, actually, and West Orton beat us comfortably with 2 quality spinners bowling well when we were chasing. But it is right to the very end. At the halfway stage, you won't be able to guess who's going down, I suspect, or who's going to be. One of the big things is the top 4 getting the Lancashire Cup as well. So there's always something to play for there, and that's we need to do ourselves justice in that this year as opposed to previous years. So, the point system does make it incredibly close. And there's no dull games that seem to drag on. Like I've been a part of in previous years.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Switching your caps slightly, your headmaster at Scarborough College, one of the big things that clubs are always looking to do is bring young lads into the Premier League, and it's something that's a very, very difficult thing to do. Is there a sort of formula that you kind of would look to blood young players come into Premier Leagues that push them up? As the how would you go about it as a sort of not necessarily a cricket coach, but a head of cricket sort of point of view?
Well, our head of cricket, Pete Rinke, played for Zimbabwe. He coached Mr. Diplock, or knows him well from Zimbabwe. Is at Bradshaw. The key is Keane and George Taylor, 2 examples, is finding clubs that are where they're going to play. They're going to trust them. They're going to bat. They're going to bowl. They're going to be surrounded by good people. For me I was very lucky as a 15-year-old lad. I was at Grappenhall Cricket Club, and there's good people there. It's produced Neil Fairbrother, Steve Titchards of this world, and Richard Green, who all played for Lancashire, and Neil case for England.
And almost
they threw me.
Smith.
Sorry, what was that?
Almost produced Steve Smith.
Yeah, they did. That is an interesting story.
We know that.
Arrived in England and flew home shortly after. But just that was a great club, for example, which they weren't scared to chuck me the ball and just bowl. So I learned how to bowl. I do have a bit of an issue with this over restrictions. I understand why, injury prevention, of course, but I was lucky at that age and Dan Jones, who's at our club and has been a professional within the leagues, is we bowled a lot of overs coming through. And I think that's a mistake that can happen, is that youngsters can go to a club and they're batting 11 or they're the 6th bowler. and actually to find the right environment, the right support. I mean, imagine, so for example, we've got a number of leg spinners at the school right now. For some reason, you've got to find a club and a captain that's going to trust them, because they're going to have bad days. We have them as experienced cricketers within the league. But to me, it's finding the right environment, the right support, the right captain. And that's quite easy within the leagues as well. And also for youngsters, for clubs, they're available Saturdays, Sundays. They're playing all the time, and they're great in the field, unlike me. So if you give them the right opportunities, Edgeworth did that with young Mr. Kelly last year as a spinner, and he did well for them. And we've done that with a number of kids over the years. So one of our youngsters that came through the club, Geordie Stevens, who's no longer that, he got 100 on Saturday, and he's a homegrown lad, and he was given the opportunities. So as a head, I look for the right club, the right environment, and the place where they're going to support them and get them playing. But that's over to Pete Rink, who's in charge of cricket. So we've got a boy who's going all the way to play in Darlington, for example, because they know they're gonna bat and bowl, and they're surrounded by good experienced cricketers like Dougie Mulholland, who's up there, for example.
And do you find that as part of your role as head and Mr. Rinky as well at the school, that you not just in charge of them when they're at Scarborough College, but you want to make sure that they get that right club, and almost like sort of quasi agents to a certain extent?
You just you care about them. You know, in the case of this school, they live at the school. Sometimes they're boarders.
Yeah.
So we've just had Jack Redshaw, who's a really talented young man to look out for.
Very talented.
And you want to, he doesn't need looking at. He's just been to Australia and he's thriving. He's doing exceptionally well with Sabir Mahmood, who's at the school. But George Taylor's gone off to Oxford to play in their academy at university, and he's at Edgeworth Cricket Club next year. They're independent. They know what they need to do at the age of 18, 19. But Keane Dickinson, Jack Carney, they'd still visit the school and come and see Pete Rinky, to have a hit with him. But often it's more the conversations and the chats. But on Saturday, I turned up at Blackpool Cricket Club and I saw half a dozen people who I used to be with in 2001, and I play now at the two senior seamers. I'll relegate myself to below them is Toby Lester, who was at Lancashire, obviously, and Luke Williams. They were at my school when I was working at Rossall in Lancashire. They were two of the boys in my cricket side who I took on tour overseas. And whilst they're all grown up, you still care about them and you're there if needed. But to be honest, the lads I've just mentioned they're so incredibly mature, know their own minds, and far braver than I was at the age of 18, going overseas and trying to make a career for themselves. But we're here for them. We always will be. It's a caring profession, and that doesn't end once they leave.
And we will point out that Jack Redshaw was one of the names pointed out by a certain Mr. David Bumble Lloyd when we recorded with him towards the end of last year. He'd seen him play in the Yorkshire North League, and that's one to keep an eye out for.
I think Jack he's not. I think he's having various trials at the moment. If there's any county looking for a side, he's very talented. I believe he's working alongside a great agent called Darren Long at the moment, who's at Vitae Sports, who's an incredible person who looks after people. And for me, Jack wins games of cricket. You know, he's got 100 to succeed for Yorkshire to win the national title. Chasing, and we know scoring runs, scoring hundreds to win games of cricket is a feat itself, and he bowls well. He's just a very talented lad. He's a very talented rugby player as well, and hopefully can step up to that next level. And for all of them, there's so many great kids out there. What is interesting in county cricket, some are getting chances. You look at the young leg spinner at Warwickshire playing today, and that there are opportunities for them. But Jack is an exciting cricketer. I had the misfortune of bowling at him for the MCC last year, and hopefully I won't do this year.
Well,
let's get
Jack's.
back.
I was just going to say Jack's 97 for Surrey Hills when he was playing in Australia in the winter in the grand final. So he had a superb winter. So and we know how good. How much that improves players when they play in such competitive cricket over the winter. So it'd be fascinating to see how he goes this year.
Great signing for Driffield in that league. Yeah, they must be challenging for the league.
Yeah, I wonder if it had anything to do with the fact that Noah Kelly was at Driffield. I wonder if there was just a little bit of a link there, maybe. Getting back to the Greater Manchester League, you know, any youngsters that you'd want us to keep an eye out, in particular in your league for Row Green or elsewhere? We've mentioned a couple of them already, but just explain a bit more about them.
Yeah, in terms of the older bracket of youngsters, the 18, 19-year-olds, I'm biased in terms of George Taylor, who's done well against the counties for the Oxford and Oxford Brookes University Academy side. I
Yeah.
think he's a good batter as well. Um, whilst he's got a number of left-arm spinners at Lancashire potentially in front of him, I think there's people I've played against over the years who've forged good careers who I don't think are as talented as George. So George is one. I think Keane as well. I'm biased over Keane again, but if you score 190 odd against Yorkshire twos at York against a proper bowling attack, you've got a chance, of course. So I hope he has a big year. And then lower down across the whole league, that there are kids coming through. The junior sections are thriving. I look at Row Green, there are hundreds of peoples and junior nights, girls and boys. I think that's a big thing. Is girls cricket is thriving. On Saturday, I played with two lads who with Lancashire, the Prill brothers, who are our club. Harrison, young leg spinner, and his younger brother, young seamer. But there are lads like that who are talented. George Harris, obviously, at Edgerton, is coming back to the league. He's playing Lancashire's second team. It's hoping that they bridge the next gap. In terms of youngsters who not too many got runs against Row Green last year. I'm pleased to say that stood out. But I think George actually did the best performance with the bat as a young lad coming through, and Keane won games of cricket. But watch this space for seeing who is out there. There's always a couple that emerge, but the key is are the club's blood in these youngsters, and are they playing them?
I was going to ask that. How difficult a league is it to blood these youngsters? I mean, we talk about the competitiveness of it. Does that mean that skippers are a little bit more reluctant?
I think it is harder. I think when you've got three or four going, relegation comes around the corner, people go back to it's natural to go back to experience. I think the over restriction certainly helps the days of when people like me are bowling 20 odd overs, which is wrong, actually. I think the over restriction certainly helps. I think clubs lack batting depth sometimes as well, so there are opportunities for youngsters. If you seize it and score runs, you will play, and in this league for sure. I think one of the big things is though the amount of 2020 games as well that helps. So the amount of cups, Sunday cups as well. So there's many weekends where we may have 3 games of cricket, so there are plenty of opportunities for youngsters as well. And I think that's a chance for clubs to give people to give their youngsters opportunities. But what I'd always say is I look at the brothers at our club; they will get opportunities, and if they score runs and get wickets, that they will move up the order. But of course, I think the pressure of relegation. I think for some financially as well, there's huge investments being made by clubs clearly in players as well. And that might restrict them. But the instinct that I see now, I see more youngsters playing cricket are just scoring runs. There's not too many coming through. That's why at that younger age, the 15, 16 years of age.
In terms of those youngsters and what they're doing and the amount of games that they've got potential for, I'm going to ask you a loaded question, unfortunately. Do you think there's too many cups for them to play in? Because I look at where the National Club Championship and the National T20 guys are coming from, and I'm not seeing enough from Manchester and Lancashire and places like that. Is it because they're too focused on those local T20, the Lancashire Cup and stuff like that?
It could be. I think the Lancashire Cup is so important to people as
But
well.
it's not as big as the National Club Championship.
Yeah, I mean, playing at Bowden over the years, the National Club Championship was the big thing. It was, for us, it was crucial. We had 3 big battles with Bootle over the years, and we won 2 of them as well out of the 3. But and trying to get to play at Lords, that was huge. And you see the Cheshire League sides like Nantwich have got there in recent times as well. Being in our dressing room, the Lancashire Cup does get talked about more, and I think And that's what we're very excited about this year as well. So yeah, it's quite an interesting thing. I've not thought about that before, but it's definitely my instinct saying that when I was playing in Cheshire, we talked about the national knockout a lot and trying to get to Lords, whereas the Lancashire Cup is huge of how teams want to succeed. We've got to make sure someone from Liverpool doesn't win it again, eh?
Well, yeah, it was shared last year, so it didn't really count, did it? I mean, the
Well,
weather got in the way.
Well, I mean that says a lot about the GMCL actually. That Prestwich, who were in Division One at that point, did so incredibly well. Um, and actually, if it wasn't rain affected, I think they probably would have won it anyway.
And am I right in saying that Prestwich have got Ormskirk in the first round this year?
Yeah,
Which
perhaps that should decide who the winners are. Hey, Prestwich versus Ormskirk again. But shame
exactly.
the no, that's the one we're looking forward to. We've got, I think we've got Walkden in it, and I think they're bringing a busload of supporters. That probably highlights everything.
You've got
The
little,
local
you've got
rivalry.
Little Lever, I think.
Oh, sorry, Little Lever. I should know. Little Lever. I should.
Yeah, it's
Um,
just quite a decent game, isn't it?
it'll be a brilliant game. So no, they are bringing a number of fans across to it, and well, I miss those Sunday Cup games. Being with my job and being wife, family, and all of those things. I've missed those Sunday Cup games, but I might be lured in for that one. I think the Lancashire Cup is. We've got to avenge how we performed against Blackpool last year. I think we've got to have a good Lancashire Cup run. That's certainly something that's in the sights of the club. But I hope all the GMCL sides do well in it, actually.
Definitely.
Um,
Looking to do
but
some.
local rivalry over national rivalry seems to be more prevalent in the GMCL.
It does definitely. But look, going back to those youngsters, and one of the questions that we've sort of been asking everyone on these previews, if you had to pick one of those youngsters from around the league who's not at Row Green, who would you like to sign?
Uh, it, it- yeah. Uh, I liked Jack Redshaw, George Taylor were the two that I thought actually last year as a left arm spinner and George going to Edgeworth. We've got enough spinners. So Jack Redshaw was the one. He's a match winner with bat and ball. And I think he's a brilliant cricketer. If it was a wicket keeper, and I do seem to be picking Scarborough College lads here, but forgive me, Jack Carney. I think Jack
Absolutely.
Carney, I think he's an incredible human being. He's a great wicket keeper. Um, and a leader. He is somebody you'd want to be in a dressing room with. And Jack Carney is tremendous. And I think he's gone to Formby from Southport, and what a signing he is for them. But
And he's one of my names that Hugh knows what I'm going to say here. Jack Carney treated appallingly last year. He came down to Derbyshire and played twos cricket week in, week out, and he still didn't get his bloody name and number on the back of his shirt. Is it because he's a specialist? He's a wicket? I don't know. But he played a lot of bloody good cricket for Derbyshire twos last year. Looked outstanding for them, and I don't think got the look in that he should.
I think he's at Notts now. He's at Notts twos.
Has he?
I think he was at Notts twos this week. Yeah, I think so.
yeah, he'll have a few games. I think for any county that are looking, I genuinely would nail my colours to the mast and go, whether it's George or Keane or Jack. And Jack Carney, Jack Redshaw, they will not let you down at all. And then there's some promising youngsters obviously across in the Cheshire and the Liverpool competition. There's that will undoubtedly come through. I think the biggest one I would say, who has impressed me massively on the schoolboy circuit, was Joe Moores. So Peter Moores' nephew, but Steve Moores' son. Steve played for Cheshire second team Macclesfield for years and runs cricket at Kings Macclesfield. His son Joe is incredible. I think he's exceptionally talented. He's in England 19 squad already when he was 15 years of age. Left-hander, whacks it. Played Lancashire twos. Um, and actually, his dad is the reason why I got into teaching. His dad was such a great coach, great person, and
Well,
to see his lad coming through. I think Joe Moores is unbelievably exciting. Of
And
course, I'd throw Keane into the mix as well, but that's been a biased headmaster. But genuinely, those lads will go. Those lads will go far. I'm
I'll be
sure.
looking forward to seeing how Mr. Carney goes this year, particularly because he's going to have a really good mentor in Mr. Ian Cobain at Formby. And I know Coey's looking forward to getting him under his wing and going there. So be an interesting season in the Liverpool comp. But let's look at your predictions for the GMCL. Top three title contenders. I know you're going to say Roe Green, Edgeworth, and
Oh, I'll throw Prestwich in there. They've come up, but
wow.
yeah, I might be. There's going to be a team that's really upset with me now. I think Roe Green Edgeworth definitely, of course. I think the sides have got stability. They've signed a great pro at Edgeworth, but they're replacing the best pro I've played against in Tom Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
But Prestwich, you can never. They had an unfortunate year of getting relegated, but they still won the cup that year. They were in the final of the Lancashire Cup last year. So, um, and then you never know. There'll be a side that will gel, that can come through. Um, there'll always be a surprise package, and Flixton are a dangerous side as well. Any side that has Gareth Cross in it, who, despite being a great batter, is also a very good bowler. If they were able to gel, who knows what they could produce as well.
Well,
Um,
I'd personally like to see Horwich RMI do a nice job because that's just personal. I used to play against them back in the day, and I love going across there. But I personally am going to put my name on this one. I can't see the top three changing, and there ain't many leagues that I would say that about. I think Clifton have made some good signings during the winter as well to get push you guys at the very top. So it will be an interesting season.
Clifton are a good side, good club again. So yeah, I've sorry Clifton for not mentioning you in the mix as well. So
I've done
don't
it,
hold that
Clifton.
against me. Yeah, don't hold that against me on the field. Yeah, Clifton are a good side again, but there will be a surprise package, and what will undoubtedly happen is that whoever wins the league will lose to a team that gets relegated.
No
There we
comment.
go. There
Dark
we go.
horses are press, Rich. You've said already. Who's going to be the top run scorer in the league?
Oh, there's a question.
A certain Mr. Rogers isn't there this year.
No, he's not. I'm thinking from them that obviously taking away the professionals. I mean, we've got Tiller Crackney Milshan, who's known to the league and has got runs consistently. I think it's his second year at the club,
Mhm.
and I'm biased, but of course, I think I would pick him. But I think it's open actually. I think it's going to be a very open year to see who will be up there. We play in a hybrid pitch, which hopefully
Okay.
will, yeah. So that plays well. So I think the grounds, but it could be one of the pro sides as well. Who Horwich, whoever, it could be somebody who comes from there. There's Joe Smith Butler's at Edgeworth as well, so he's a consistent performer. But for us, we've got a number of players who could have a good year. But I think it tends to be one of the professionals. If I'm going to pick someone and be biased, I'll go Keane Dickinson at Bradshaw. He's going to be the leading run scorer.
Okay. And your top wicket taker?
Um,
Your guy will be close, I think.
I think we share it around actually at our club, so I don't think it'll be anyone from us. I mean, I think Toby Lester will bowl the most maidens. There's a prediction for him. Adnan Gauss, I think he'll get the most wickets from Edgeworth. I think he's a superb performer. Or Gareth Cross again. But
Consistent.
from us, and then I'll top the economy rate.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. In your format, that's a good place to be, isn't it? Without a doubt. So
Uh,
you
Always the aim. Always the aim.
absolutely.
I know my limitations these days, or I always had them anyway. But there's some great bowlers there. Actually, just and Adnan is one. I think if Toby was in a side where he was bowling all the majority of overs where it's shared around, I think he'd be right up there. Tremendous bowler and person to have in the dressing room. Actually,
And your bold prediction for the year, is that going to be the press rich one?
I think press switch one. Is the bold one. I think it's hard to be braver than that really because I do genuinely believe that it'll be ourselves and Edgeworth that could be up there. But strange things have happened. I've played in a side that one year, same 11 were fighting relegation. I was in a Bowden side that couldn't, and then the following year we did the treble. So you never know. That's the beauty of sport, isn't it? We watched the Ryder Cup last night, and anything can happen. But the bold prediction, I think that them coming up. I also feel that sides like Horwich, that there's some good sides that have been promoted. I think that the biggest prediction I can make is I have no idea who's going to go down. I think
I think that's
relegation is.
absolutely true in your league, full stop.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it.
I think that's what makes it the best league I've played in, or the most enjoyable league I've played in. Actually, is and I love my time in the Cheshire League. I think the fact that in most leagues you can predict the bottom two, we have no idea in this league who's getting relegated.
Yeah, most definitely. And what are you looking forward to personally the most, apart from the, let's be brutal about this, ridiculous amount of driving you do, Mr. Emmett?
Yeah, I the club means a lot to me. I know people have asked you, you drive from Scarborough to Row Green. In the first year of the GMTL, they took a chance. Me, I was still in my late 30s then,
Let me
and
ask you, what's the worst journey you've had? What's the longest it's taken you?
Blackpool on Saturday. Yeah, that was over 3 hours. I got up at 6:30 in the morning. But it was worth it. Again, I think about it, you meet new people, you visit a new ground. And my family is very important to me. With my job, I work long hours. I've got what I think one of the best jobs in the world you can possibly ever have, working with youngsters. But I don't get to see my family as much. So seeing my mum and dad, who are why I'm into cricket, every week means the world. And the club is there's crowds, there's people watching. There's a family atmosphere. My grandma's bench is at Row Green Cricket Club,
Okay.
and it highlights something actually where I remember coming back to the club the first game, and it really got to me. And the captain Luke Norris, who's probably the most emotionally intelligent captain I've ever played with, he sent a video just of Grand's bench, to welcome back to Row Green. And that's the club, and that's why I love the place, and that's why I travel so far. But credit to the other clubs as well, that they are hugely successful in how they're run with the people and the
Yeah.
volunteers around them.
Mm.
And that's what's amazing, that there's so many youngsters at the clubs in that top league, and the reliance upon volunteers. I can't wait. There's still that buzz. I thought he'd left me. I thought he'd gone. I thought I could semi-retire. But I'm looking forward to Saturday and hopefully hitting someone on the shin and doing a loud appeal after.
Yeah.
That's all it takes, isn't it? Just that first appeal, and you know you're back.
Yeah, that's it. Well, there's not going to be any catches to second slip for sure. So someone will probably chip it up to mid off like normal because of the lack of pace. But the dressing room, I'm literally surrounded by every single person I think the world of. They're really good people. They're friends, they're mates. And then the families that are there to support them as well. But one of the things I also love is that after the game, the oppositions, they always stick around with each other. In this league, it's very apparent
It's almost
that,
law. It's almost an unwritten law, isn't it?
yeah, it is. I mean, and the club survive on that as well. You need a busy bar. You need an atmosphere at the club.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I wish every side good luck, of course. My one big wish is that the rain stays away and this weather continues and we get to
Yeah.
play lots of cricket, because
Absolutely.
that is one of the things when, yeah, I'm sure opposition players laugh at me when you've travelled over 2 hours and you just watch it rain and travel 2 hours back. But even then, you're spending hours with your mates.
100%. Hey, great chatting. Looking forward to seeing how the GMCL goes this year. And I'm hoping in 2 weeks' time that you beat your record for your longest journey when you actually do play on a Sunday and you go to Furness in the National Club Championship. Because it ain't going to get any bloody further for a preliminary round than Scarborough to Furness. Okay, it's actually Row Green to Furness, but that'd be a drive and a half, wouldn't it?
No, it would be. It'd be worth it to go through. The nice thing for the first time, I actually feel we've got the squad to keep going further in these cups, because I think what clubs have is cricket is a huge commitment for people with families. And when you have 11 players, you know that the top clubs, like I look at what Namwich had when they propelled to a final, they have a number of good cricketers. So, yeah, that journey will be good fun. We'll listen to a few podcasts on the way.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I am looking forward to this season more than ever before. Actually, it keeps me young, keeps my physio in business. And do you know what? I'm so determined that we'll win the league this year as well. That it hurt last year losing, but to a better side actually across the year. That they deserved it, Edgeworth. But let's bring back the title to Road Green. Hey,
that's the way to finish. Thanks for your time, Guy.
Thanks, Guy.
Thanks, Ian. Thanks, you. Good luck to everyone. Take care.
Thanks for joining us at the Premier League Cricket Club. We'll be back soon with more from the world of Premier League and NWCA cricket. But in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review and follow us wherever you get your socials. Or maybe check out our website, premierleaguecricket.co.uk, to stay updated. Until next time, have a good one.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
We interrupt this program to bring you an important Wayfair message. Wayfair's got style tips for every home. This is Styles McKenzie helping you make those rooms sing. Today's style tip: when it comes to making a statement, treat bold patterns like neutrals. Go wild, like an untamed animal print area rug under a rustic farmhouse table from Wayfair.com. Arr, fierce. This has been your Wayfair style tip to keep those interiors superior.
Wayfair, every style, every home.